today I want to share with you the story of how I discovered one of my favourite stories, which is The Last Unicorn by Peter Spiegel. I actually first was introduced to the story as an animated film, which I saw when I was perhaps about 3 years old and living in the high-rise apartments of Chicago, and it was broadcast on public TV so it would have been the very early 90s. And my sister and I fell in love with the film, and we had a copy then on VHS we would watch again and again until we could quote all the lines and reenact scenes out in our yard. And it wasn't until many years later that I actually had a chance to discover the book itself. By this time I'd moved to Australia, and I was on a holiday to New Zealand where a lot of my family lives, and we were in the South Island, and I love browsing secondhand bookstores, and in this New Zealand one I happened to find this, which is the book of The Last Unicorn. And my sister and I recognized the title and the author immediately, and we hurriedly checked, is this really the same story? And there were all the characters and some of the same lines from the film, and so I immediately bought it and read it in a few days, absolutely enthralled with the story again. Even now, I was around 14 or 15 years old. And a week later, still in New Zealand, but this time the North Island, I came across this for sale, which is a DVD copy of the film. And it had been a very long time since I'd had a chance to watch the film, because we had to leave our video copy of the film back in the US because it doesn't work in Australian VCRs, which is, something we were very annoyed about at the time. You can imagine children having to leave their beloved videos behind. So I was ecstatic to finally get to see the film again, and I loved it just as much as I had as a child, and it brought back a flood of wonderful memories of this story. And it's a story that is often seen at first by people as something that's just for children, but actually there's such a depth to the characters, and they feel so real that many adults are caught up in the story, and it really speaks to everyone. It's not a story just for children or just for adults. It's a story for anyone that loves a good story. And I also now have the film in German. A lot of you know I love the German language, and I'm learning it. And because I know the dialogue of the English version so well, when I watch the German one, I feel like I'm translating a lot more than I would usually be able to, and I pick up a lot of great vocabulary from it. Einhorn and Zauber and unicorn and magic and words like that, which is a lot of fun. The film is particularly popular, and the book in Germany. The actor Christopher Lee, who voiced the wonderful character of King Haggard in the English version, agreed to voice the character in the German version in German as well. So it's particularly fun when watching the German one to get to hear Christopher Lee speaking German as well. So recently, a very exciting event, which also sparked this vlog, is that in April, the author of The Last Unicorn, Peter Spiegel, had his 70th birthday party. It was a public event in Golden Gate Park, and I had the chance to go with A.S. Angelo, whose YouTube channel a lot of you are now familiar with as well. And it was a wonderful chance to get to meet the author and hear his stories, and hear how the Last Unicorn is for him, and his perspective on it. And Angelo also gave me a wonderful gift of this book, which is a very new version of The Last Unicorn, which contains not only a follow-up story to the original story, it also has a wonderful unicorn drawn by Connor, who works closely with and is a friend of Peter Spiegel. It's a special edition in that Peter Spiegel has handwritten a few pages of a new story that will be coming out called The Green-Eyed Boy, which is a story about one of the characters in The Last Unicorn, Schmendrick, and his story before The Last Unicorn. So it's highly anticipated by myself and other fans of The Last Unicorn. and it's a beautiful edition of the book too. So I was very excited to receive that, and I can't wait to get to read the rest of The Green-Eyed Boy when it comes out. So for those of you who haven't ever heard of or read The Last Unicorn, I highly recommend seeking out a copy and reading it. It's like no other fantasy story I've read. There's unexpected bits of humour in it, and the characters, you can't help but feel for them in the plight of the story. It really is a story that grabbed me from the earliest age and has stayed with me ever since, and it was wonderful to be reintroduced to it recently.